Welcome everyone to our tonight's session with our special speaker, Lucia Gallegos. Tonight's topic is a goal setting and action plan. Welcome everyone. You know the rules already. Please mute your microphone. The Q&A session, you can type your questions in the chat during the presentation. And our speaker, Lucia Gallegos, she will try to address as many as possible. Let's introduce Lucia Gallegos. Lucia is fluent in both English and Spanish, is a registered psychotherapist with a master's in arts and counseling psychology from Yorkville University. She's a member of the College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario, CRPO, and the Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Association, CCPA. Having transitioned from public relations and marketing, Lucia recognizes the power of empathetic communication. These insights led her to become a therapist, guiding women to discover their inner strength. She's also workshop facilitator, empowering women to nurture self-compassion, emotional skills, and awareness. Catch her on Canadian TV, offering insights and conversations that support and connect with the feminine. Running a private practice, Lucia specializes in helping women navigate life change, pain, relationships, self-esteem, and imposter syndrome. Her true passion is guiding individuals on a therapeutic journey to uncover their inner beauty, wisdom, and freedom. Let's welcome Lucia Gallegos.
Thank you, everyone. It's an honor for me to be here with you. And well, perfect. Okay, goal setting and action plan. What's that? What is a goal setting? And we can hear this word a lot, not only in the professional life, but also in the personal life. Like, what's your goal? And what's your action plan? And probably when you moved here to Canada, you also have a goal in mind. So, okay, let's go on and see what I'm going to be covering during this hour. First things first, the past. It is important to understand where we're coming from, to know where we are, so know where we want to go. So in the past, what succeeded and what didn't. In the present, what current circumstances, the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, and the future. Okay, so where I want to be in a couple of days, months, of years. That's important. So it's important to understand this is vital. So first one, where am I coming from? You already mentioned it, right? Probably you were not born here in Canada. You one day decided that you wanted to come to Canada for A or B reason, because you wanted a better lifestyle, or because you wanted to study something, or because you wanted to find a different job, or for any reason. There was a moment where you were in the past before. So have that in mind. And when I ask where are you coming from, where am I coming from, is not only your country of origin, but also your professional life. Like in my case, for instance, my background, the first career that I studied back home is communications. And when I landed in Canada, later with time, I decided I wanted to change career, right? And now I studied and I went back to school, and then I wanted to became a psychotherapist. So where are you guys coming from? Then one thing that probably you already discovered about yourself. When you decided to move to Canada, go back to that time. What was your goal at the time? It was because you wanted to study. It was because you wanted to live in a different environment. It's because you wanted to learn English or French. Like, what was that thing that it was inside you, inside your mind, that made you think about, I want to move and I want to go to Canada? Even though it was something by luck, let's say that probably your partner decided to move to the country and you decided to join. In my case, if I'm honest, I moved to Canada because my husband was living here. So that was one of the reasons, not the only one, but that was the main one. So think about what was your goal at the time. Just have that in mind and write it down. Important, write it down. Then I'm going to ask you to take your time. And when you decided to move to Canada, think about 3 most challenging things you faced at that moment. And I want you to think how you solved them. Because I'm pretty sure that there were different challenges that you have to face. I'm pretty sure. And when I'm thinking about challenges, I'm thinking about while you were planning coming to Canada, or also while you were already here. Like, think about that. I'm going to give you some time so you can think about that. And I'm going to be checking on the chat to see what you guys are. And also, if you want to share this on the chat, feel free to do so. I will give you some minutes to think about this. And Victoria, she said she wanted to come here to find balance between work and life because she was working 10-hour shifts and working weekends, being on call 24/7. Okay, yeah. Leave the family, say Sandra. Okay, yes, yeah. So you're yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna still give you more time to do that. If anyone feels like would like to share the 3 most challenging things you guys faced and how you solved them, feel free to do that. Gavi Cardenas is saying because the cultural adjustment, and yes, moving to another country involves that. Sandra says the language. Sharmila says networking. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay. And start again, says Anna, and then Lyudmila says finding a first job. And Victor, opportunities to show what I can do. Okay. And Victoria says, number 1, I think she's referring to the most challenging thing is looking for a place to live was very hard as I didn't have a job. Well, that's a huge challenge. 2, looking for work because I didn't have Canadian experience. And 3, cold. And that Canadian experience is something that when we are immigrants in this country, is one of the first things that we have to face. And that's a huge challenge. But like I always say to people that come to this country for the first time, it's the first time that we need to try to enter to the system. That seems like it's impossible and difficult. Once you're in the system, this country knows how to provide back. But yes, having Canadian experience is one of the most challenges, I will say. I also that was one of my challenges as well, because that's the first thing they ask you. And the question is, so how can I get that? Okay. Then Manny says job search according to your skill. Yeah. And okay. And then Yvette says meeting new people, networking, connecting with people. So let's continue with the next. Sorry, I think I already, by mistake, I think I went forward. Okay, yes, but this one was the next question. So once you are here in Canada, list those 5 people, or probably not 5, but if there were 3 or 1, but list 5 people or the number of people who helped you with the moving process and describe their contributions. Probably was family before you arrived in Canada, or probably were colleagues or people you met here in Canada or associations. The reason I'm asking this is because normally we work in a community environment. What do I mean by that? It is important to understand, and what I'm trying to do here is to see what you already done in the past and to see what has worked in the past so you can use it now. And believe me, contacts, networking. And when I say networking, it does not only involve going and meeting people in events, also means knowing my neighbor. That's something important to consider. So again, if you feel free, share that in the chat. Think about that people who helped you. Probably that you were in a financial struggle and a family member say, you know what, I can borrow you this money, or you know what, I don't know how to start, and maybe a person say, I can share my experience with you. Just think about all those tools and all those people involved. And Sandra says, nobody, I didn't have family or friends here. That's okay, Sandra. But also, before moving to Canada, I wonder if back home there were people that also like helped. This involved before moving, probably when you have the idea, if you had a mentor or if you went to exhibition, and like what made somehow things more, I don't want to use the word easier, but what helped with the goal before and also once you land in here in Canada. Could it be my cats? Mauricio says, yes, absolutely. Yes, if that provided you with that support, absolutely. Anna says Equatorian community. That's, yeah, important. Parents, husband, and my husband's friends. Yeah. Juan says, Mr. Google, I found many answers browsing. Yes, okay, yes. And here, Frith say, I came to be closer. I lost that one. I came to be closer to nature and to be able to make a living with better human rights. And I think the most challenging ones was the fear to failure and not having the same success I did. We're going to be talking about failure later on because it's a big one. And failure could be used as a weapon or could be also used as a strategy. What else we have here? Yvette says, friends and family in Mexico and in Toronto, friends back from Mexico, and my English classmates. Okay, yeah, so have that in mind, because the reason I want you to write this down is because you're going to be using this information for later on. Okay, I continue for the next one is, okay, once you were here, that you have the goal, I want to move to Canada, that you already went through the whole process, that you landed, that the plane finally landed here, that probably you had, like in my case, 2 suitcases with you, your luggage. That was like, okay, starting a new life. So what did you learn about yourself after this process? And when I say in this process, I mean from the moment that you say, I want to go to Canada, to the moment that you landed at, I'm going to say Pearson, if that were Pearson, if it was another airport. And then if you could go back in time to those challenging moments with the experience that you have now, with the version of yourself who is now in 2024. And when I say go back, it's like to the process before coming to Canada. When you say, I want to go to Canada, what advice would you give to yourself with information you have now? We're still here working with the past. I'm not here talking about in the process of finding a job. Here I'm focusing on what you already done when you decided to move to Canada and when you landed here. So reflect on that, and if you feel free, feel free to share that. And here we'll read some of the comments. Monica says, through an organization, my husband met a retired Canadian who was very open to guiding through the process during the first year of living here in Toronto. Perfect. Frith says, my friends who gave me perspective, friends who actually came and physically helped me pack, store things in their warehouse. My mom who supported, so I did not feel guilty, living connect with my family here. Friends who reached out to me here. Okay. Then Lyudmila, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I had a lot of doubts, so I will say I made a correct choice. Be more curious and connect with more people. I'm assuming here that's what would you tell yourself, right? If you have to give yourself an advice to the version of you in the past. And then Victor, never give up. Perfect. Then Victoria, someone will give you an opportunity as they did 20 years ago. Perfect. Gabby, be resilient and perseverant. Sandra, do not worry too much about the grades in the school. Nobody cares. Focus on getting better in the language. Okay, and then Monica, get out of your comfort zone. Don't be ashamed of anything. There's always things to learn. Be nice to people, the city, and the people are willing to help you. It all depends on being positive and patient. Good. I'm so glad that you're sharing all this. I will love to read all your comments, but it's just that I have such a tight agenda and I want to cover so much that I will continue with the next one. But I'm pretty comfortable and sure that you will be answering this for yourself as well, because this will provide you a lot of insight and to see the things that you already done in the past. Okay. Also, if you feel that I'm talking too fast, please let me know, because when I get so excited, I tend to talk really, really, really fast. And I'm always excited when I'm giving a presentation, especially when it's about goal planning. Perfect. Now, we already worked with the past. Like, where was I, right? Where I'm coming from? Where am I coming from? Now, where am I now? Okay, I'm in Canada. Okay, we're in Canada. Okay, what's happening now, like in this moment? And then bring us to this question. Okay, if someone has never met you but has seen you for the first time, how do you think they will describe you? What do you think that person will see in you? I'm going to give you some time to reflect on that. And I'm going to explain later why I think this question is important. And I will be reading all of the answers. And I think the reason I'm reading your answer is because it gives us a lot of community and information about the struggles that you already had in the past, and also the resiliency that you are building as well. So let me go back here. Yvette says probably she has learned, and she will tell an advice to herself is understands that this is a continuous journey. That's correct. Sharmila, get mentally prepared for the challenges ahead, being resilient, researching more. Perfect. Herbert's belief in future, everything will be great. Okay. Frith, I was surprised at how much I had underestimated moving. And I also learned that I make a good calculations and risk management. Good. If you see, we are learning about the tools that you already have. Okay. And okay. Now about this question, like if someone has never met you but has seen you for the first time, what do you think they will describe you? Yvette says friendly, kind, quiet, maybe. Yeah. And Fritz says depends on the day, but if I'm intentional, most people will think I'm a confident or have a busy mind. Okay. Sandra, if it's in Spanish, talkative and friendly, but in English, I'm shy. I always think, and this is something that I consider, I don't know, what do you think? Is like, I feel that I have two personalities. One that is the English speaker and one that is the Spanish speaker. In my case, those are the languages that I talk. And I think there's a lot of psychology there, but I wonder if you feel the same. But okay, why am I asking this question? You guys in this moment are doing a lot of probably networking and are contacting people. And like we somehow saw that a tool that has helped you in the past is to connect with other people. And sometimes we might have just one chance to make a good impression. So that's why I'm asked this question. This question is not about you change your personality or the way you are. It's more about to be curious and how you could communicate, because a lot of the language is not only words. Words is a big chunk of the language, but it's also about the body language. If I'm talking with you here and I'm saying the same words that I'm using, but I'm just talking this way, and I'm here asking you to please, probably you're going to feel different towards me. But if I'm trying to like add an intention, and to use my hands, because a part of my personality is using my hands, probably you will see a different part of myself. What I'm saying here is that it's important for you to identify, so how the others are perceiving me. And again, this is not a question to say, I have to change the way I am, not, but more to be aware of how the other people is perceiving you, because you will be in a different job interviews. Okay. Okay, so let's continue with the next one. Now, in this moment, in the present time, what is the most challenging aspect of your current job hunting? Please put it in the chat. Currently now, is it the language, the Canadian experience? Is it not having connections? Is it feeling shy? Like, what is it? And I'm happy to read you. Lyudmila says no previous experience, Canadian experience, your language. Marina, Victoria, 11-year career gap. Okay, yes. What else? What else? Because connections, Canadian experience, a lot of experience in my country. Yeah, that's frustrating, right? Because we come with a lot of experience, but then you come here to Canada and they tell you, oh, yeah, well, that's great. But here, you know what? You don't have enough Canadian experience. And that's for sure frustrating. That does not mean, though, that we don't have the skill of the capacity, right? Giovanni says also Canadian experience. Gusted recruiters, that's awful. I get overwhelmed because looking for a job is a job. And it's true, Frith, you guys can be overwhelmed. I will be talking also about self-care later, because self-care, it is important as well to have a balance, because you can get burned out, believe me. Networking, knowing if a resume is okay or if I'm selling myself correctly. Yeah, right? Okay, so if you have that already in mind, so write it down again, because we're going to be working with this. Next one. Okay, continue. Now, what emotions and thoughts emerge? And how these are affecting your behavior in job hunting? And finally, how do you cope with all of this? And I'm going to explain this a little more. Emotions is a physical and a biological response to something. When I'm working in psychotherapy in a session, normally clients come and say, oh, I'm a bad person because I feel this way. Or I'm a good person because I feel this way. And the way I like to talk about emotions is like weather. You're not good or bad person because you feel cold or hot. Emotions is a way that our body and the brain are identifying something and is sending us signals, basically connections in the brain. Now, the way emotions are might affect our behavior. If I feel fear, or if I feel stressed, or if I feel sad or anxious, I might not do A, B, or C, or I might do these maladaptive behaviors. And that might be affecting my job hunting. For instance, if I feel sad, probably, and let's say that I feel, and it's okay to feel all the emotions, but here I just want you to pay attention to how an emotion is affecting your behavior. All the emotions are important to be validated, but also to identify how this is affecting the job hunting. And how do I cope with all of this? If I feel sad, what am I doing with this? Am I just saying, okay, I'm just going to put it there and just not pay attention to it? Probably that might work for a couple of days. But you know what? Later, any emotion that is not expressed correctly, the body keeps the score. And the body is wise enough to say, you know what? Here is something. Here is anger, here is fear, here is anxiety, here is stress. If we do not allow these emotions to be expressed freely, they will come after us and they will find a way to be expressed. And something that I want to explain carefully. An emotion is a reaction that happens at the time. For instance, I feel sad. Feeling is when we hold that emotion for a long period of time. oh, I have the feeling like, this feeling sad, probably been feeling sad for 3 days. A disorder is that emotion or those emotions like hold for a long time unattended. And we're talking here, for instance, depression or anxiety disorder. So important to understand emotions and important to see how to cope with them, especially in this challenging and stressful time, right? Okay, next one. Let me see, what did you say about emotions? Discouraging, frustration, disappointing. Yeah, frustration. Yeah, frustration is one of the emotions that will come. And frustration, it involves a little of anger and I guess sadness. It's like a mix of different emotions. So it is important to allow yourself to express that. Either talk to friends, either write it down in the way that works for you, but it's important to express them because the body keeps the score. So let's continue with the next question. Do you think it's important to have a morning routine? If so, what's yours? For me, it's vital. It's important to have a morning routine. And the first thing that I do in the morning, and it's something that I suggest here to do, the first thing I do when I wake up is go and see the light, the sunlight, not directly to the sunlight. Why? Because that helps the circadian cycle to be synchronized. That will make you feel motivated. I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but when we wake up, that's when the cortisol, and the cortisol is the hormone of the stress, but we need it in the morning in order to work. The issue is when we have cortisol 24/7, but we need it in the morning. So if you wake up and you create a routine, in my case, I wake up, I go outside, see the sunlight, indirect sunlight, and then I do stretches in the morning before I start my day, my routine. That's part of my routine. That's for me and my body say, this is what I be doing first. Because if you have a routine and you have a time for each thing that you're going to be doing, it's going to be easier to get grounded in the middle of the storm. So what's yours? Or if you don't have a routine, what is it that you would like to do? And Fritz said, yes, I need to have movement, sunlight, breakfast. Important, yes. It's important to have a morning routine. And believe me, in this case, especially these days that you're looking for a job, number one, important. And I will encourage you that your routine is not to wake up and just go right away to the computer. Have like a warm-up period. Have something for you before you start doing that. And then go and start your job hunting. And then at the end, have a cool down period. Just like when you go to the gym. You just go to the gym and you just not start working right away. You have to have like a period before, like to start warming up and then to cool down. That's important. Then, okay, let's go to the next question. What currently motivates you? What do you feel passionate about? In my case, when I realized that I wanted to become a psychotherapist, that was my ignition. That's when I say, I know what I want to do. This is like what I love doing. Even if it's not related to your professional life, like, but what currently motivates you? Where is that passion? Because that's when it helps you and what's going to provide you like that ignite, that energy through the whole process. Okay, then we go to the third part of this presentation. Where do I want to go? We already saw where I'm coming from. Where am I? Where do I want to go? Now, important question. What is your goal for the end of this program? Now, before you answer this one, hold on your horses. You're gonna answer this one, but before that, let me talk about 7 steps to get there. Because creating a goal is a little more complex. And number one is to have a clear goal. This is vital Because if we don't have a clear goal, we can lead to nowhere. Like if you don't know where you're going, every road will lead to nowhere. So it's important to have a clear goal. What do I mean by a clear goal? I don't know if you ever heard or read about SMART goals. And I love using SMART goals in my personal and professional life because with the SMART goals, we can identify and create a goal that is specific, that we can measure, that is attainable, relevant, and it has a time. Because sometimes, let me give you another example with the next slides. It's not the same if I say, I want to go to Europe. That's a goal. Yeah, that is so broad. Instead, if I say, I'm planning to spend 2 weeks in mid-April next year in Spain with my family, so I'm saving money every month. You see the difference? Here I have, if we go back to, let me go back to the previous one. Okay, to the SMART goal. Oh, no. There you are. Okay. It's specific that we have to measure. It's specific. I want to go to Europe. When? Mid-April. Where in Europe? Spain. Right? How am I going to measure that? It's going to be mid-April. Is it attainable? Is it realistic? Yes. Is relevant? Yes, because probably I want to go to Europe. I want to be in Spain. And time, okay, how many months I have left to do that? That's what I'm talking about, creating a SMART goal. That's important. So then, what is your small goal for the end of this program? And let me go back here. I will give you a few minutes. So probably you already have a goal. If you have it, just make sure that you have these different specifications. If not, then this is a good time to create one. I will give you a few seconds to do that. And if you have your goal and you would like to share it, please feel free to do that. This is, I will say, the most important part of the presentation because having a clear goal is going to be vital to achieve it. And if anyone would like to share his, her goal, feel free to do so. And also because of time, I will continue. But if you haven't finished writing your SMART goal, please do this even at the end of the presentation. And here Sandra says, be more confident with myself, talking about my experience, knowledge and language. Sandra, I will add, what do you mean by confident with yourself? It's like write it down. What do you exactly mean? I mean, not to share it in the chat if you don't feel like, but go more specific. By when? By when, in 2 weeks, in 2 months, how you know that you're becoming more confident? More specific. What do you mean by knowledge in language? Like you want to read books or read novels or have a conversation. What exactly do you mean? And then Lydia is enhance my interview skills by the end of November. Again, what do you mean by enhance my interview skills? What skills exactly? What do you mean exactly? The more specific, the easier you will achieve. Then Victoria, contact personally via phone call my network contacts within the next month. I will just add how many network contacts, like weekly, at the end of the month, how many people, at what time. And then Anna, getting a job in the field by the end of the program using the power of networking. And again, Anna, that's great, but be more specific. What do you mean getting a job? Like, could be a job, any job, or a job with what salary, what field, what position? Is it working in from home or hybrid? Like, be the more specific. And some of you might say, what is the first job? It is, but the more specific you are, the more you will know how to find the tools to get there, right? That's why I'm so, I put a lot of emphasis here. Okay, so you're doing a great job. Just be more specific, more specific. The more specific you can be. For instance, Giovanni, I want to get my first job in Ontario, Canada before November 2024, which allow me to enter a Canadian job market, grow here and establish myself as a great professional in the following 2 years. Perfect, Giovanni. I just will also add what exactly the job you want, like what type of company you're looking for. Like, be so specific. Do not be afraid to be specific, because sometimes as an immigrant, we think like, oh, I might not be ready to do that job. Believe me, we are. It's just be the more specific, because imagine that you're meeting someone in an elevator that is human resources or a headhunter, and you have the elevator questions, right? That is like, oh, tell me about yourself, about your goal. If you come with that person and you share a specific smart goal, that person might say, oh, I see what you mean. I think I might have someone that I can connect you with. That's why it's so important for you to have that goal, really clear goal. Okay, so then intention. Okay, well, I don't know why I cannot go back, but this one is about what is my intention? Like, what is my intention with this goal? What do I want to achieve with this goal? How should I know when I get there? And what ignites me about this goal? Previously, I talked about motivation, that it's important to have motivation. But what happens when we don't feel motivated? Because for sure, we're not going to feel motivated one day, believe me. We're not going to feel motivated because life happens, because weather, and that's okay. That's why it's important to have intention, because intention is like, okay, I might not feel motivated now, but this is my intention. This is the reason I'm doing this, right? So important also, what's your intention? And I will go faster because I'm running out of time. And then number 2, identify challenges. So, and I love this quote, this quote, challenges make you discover things about yourself that you never really knew. Challenges, it's a way for you to discover yourself and how you can grow from your own experience, right? So how do you feel about your challenges, your current challenges, and how probably in a few years you will be seeing these challenges now. Here I will just add, what are your fears? Is there a pattern in the challenges that you say, I always find myself with this same challenge? Probably it's about networking. Probably it's about not feeling ready or feeling fearful. Of what are the tools that you used in the past, right? Important to understand the challenges. It's not about, oh, have challenges, I'm just going to pretend those are not there. No, we can learn from them. Then here, about your goal, right? You say, okay, take the goal that you already wrote down and identify the barriers for that goal. And you might say, well, it's because no one is like, because I don't have the Canadian experience, or I don't know enough people to do networking, or I cannot speak fluent English the way I would love to. Just identify those barriers. Write them down. I'm sorry, yeah, Jose is saying that I'm too fast with the slides. I am so sorry. It's just that I have many things to cover and you have few minutes left. But I will take more time here. Write down barriers. Okay? Write down what barriers you have. And you have a lot. And it's okay to have the barriers. But then, once you have the barrier, for each barrier that you identify and that you write down, you're going to write an opposite statement to that barrier. Let's say, I do not have Canadian experience. That's one barrier. That's one thought. That's a fact and it's a thought. So opposite statement to that could be, I can learn more. I can find a network, or I can find a volunteer activity where I can get more Canadian experience. An opposite statement means that whatever is here in the barrier, like what's the opposite? Even though you might say, no, that's not possible. I don't have Canadian experience. So if I write down, I will get Canadian experience, let's use that one. You might say, but that's not possible. It doesn't matter. Just write down the opposite statement, because then what do I do differently to be here? So if I don't have Canadian experience and the opposite statement is get Canadian experience, what do I do differently than I'm doing now? Do I need to contact more people? Do I need to volunteer? Do I need to attend more events? Do I need to go to more community meetings? Like, what is it that I need to do differently? Here, the key word is differently, because sometimes it's not that we have to do more, it's that we have to do things differently. Okay? Then visualize it. And here is important. If you can make a plan, you can create a planning board. You can take paper, you can take magazines, you can cut and paste and visualize how you see yourself during that goal. Why is important to do that? For the brain, when we have something that is specific, that's why it is important to create a smart goal. And we also see it in visuals. We're telling our brain, start looking at this. I don't know if you ever heard, like, for instance, people or women that are trying to get pregnant, they start to see women that are pregnant with children, because what is important for the brain will start to pick up on that. So that's important to visualize it the way that you want to do it, but that's why it's called a planning board. Okay, make it visual. Then focus. And I want to share here with you is the Pomodoro technique. It's a technique that I use. You can go, I normally go to a website and I just click Pomodoro timing. And it's a way to work that when you start working, it will start working nonstop for 25 minutes. And then you will have 5 minutes break. And then after the 5 minutes break, you will start to work 25 minutes. I love to work this way, obviously not when I'm with my clients, but when I have to do admin stuff. And it's an amazing tool to focus, because sometimes we are trying to send a resume and then we have the cell phone and we're like, oh, notification. Oh, okay, I'm gonna put it here, gone. Like this, this little guy here is created to create dopamine in the brain. Once we see something here, we're gonna be not focused anymore. If we know that the Pomodoro technique, I just sit for 25 minutes, I do what I have to do, no interruption, then I have 5 minutes to do what I want to do, to go to the washroom, the break, and then to focus again. So it's a great, great tool. And I almost finished, I promise. Then make connections, networking. That's also really important. And again, not only in professional fields, with social fields. You don't know when, probably in a party, in a celebration, you might find someone that also is going to contribute. Then reframe failure. Also important, because you know what? We all are going to fail, and that's okay. And I love this quote: fail early, fail often, but always fail forward. Always fail, but fail. If you feel afraid to fail, it's like, yes, I mean, who hasn't? No, who hasn't? And the more we fail, let's say that way, the more we learn about ourselves. But fail early, fail often, but always fail forward. And number 7, self-care. Like I said, you can pour from an empty cup. You will be under a lot of stress. You are currently under a lot of stress, different emotions. Take good care of yourself. And what do I mean by that? Take time for you as well, because it is important to have time on the job hunting, and it's also important to have time for you to take care of yourself. And I will share here with you different organizations that are free that you can contact in case that you feel overwhelmed. KMH, Center for Addiction and Mental Health. If you ever feel like overwhelmed, you can call here or go to the website. It's a free service. Or also you can call the 211. It's a helpline, totally free. I don't have it here, but it's the Crisis Center. It's a crisis line that you can call, and it's 24/7. They have different languages, and it's free and completely confidential. If once you feel like this is so overwhelming and I would like to talk to a counselor, that's a great way to do it. They have a lot of experience. I've been a volunteer, not in crisis center, in other centers, but believe me, the training that all the counselors get there is amazing. And the Mennonite New Life, they have, the only thing is the waiting list is long, but they have also counseling sessions for people. I'm not sure if they have to be residents. I'm not really sure on that one, but they provide free services. They match you with a counselor, and I think it's 6 sessions what you get. So if you can print screen, feel free to get this information and to know that there is also organizations about mental health, because mental health, it is important, the same as the physical health, and especially because we are entering into like lack of sunlight. For some people, including myself, I'm one of those people that with lack of sunlight, I tend to get more like more challenging, but I already know the tools to deal with that. Okay, so that's all the information. If you would like to, have more information on mental health, you can go to my Instagram account, Lucia Therapy, or you can go also to my website, luciatherapy.com, where I also have a podcast called Flowers in Winter, where I talk about mental health, and I also have blogs that talks more about these topics. As well, I am so sorry that I took little more time than I was expected, but we can go to the question and answers.
Yes, yeah, I think we still have about 10 minutes for
Okay.
our question. So if you want to write it down in the chat, please. But I want to say thank you, Lucia. I like the way that you led us through this journey, because it's a new journey for many of us. And I like the SMART goal as well, because I read some of the comments, and I think our dream is to land in a job, right? But I think if we start to say, okay, I need to meet 3 different people every week and get an informational interview, for example, or talk to them, probably some of them will lead us to a new or an opportunity, an interview. So that is a way to start to measure. This has been my experience, to start from, okay, let's connect with this person on LinkedIn, write the right message to connect with them, what we want from them. What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's really important. And also what you can do there, if you want to add something more structure, is create a Excel document, right? That you can identify, okay, how many people I will be contacting. And when we say the number, if we might say, oh, this is already overwhelming. This is a lot, right? Like this is a lot. Go easy. You might say, okay, maybe the goal for this week, because that's another thing important to mention. We have the main goal, and also it's important to break it down in small, smart goals. Saying, okay, this is what I want at the end of the program, but in order to get there, let's say that I will be contacting, let's say 3 people each week, the first 2 weeks, right? And 3 people that I will be creating an Excel document where I will be adding the information so I know who I talk to. Because later what happens is we might start talking to different people or getting different interviews, and we might get confused, like, oh, who is who? But it is, the more structured we are, the easier it's gonna come, right? Because finding a job, it's a job itself. So That's important. And if you start to feel overwhelmed, probably that's a sign that you need to step back a little and to see, okay, why do I feel like this? Is it because I need more structure? Do I need help? Can I ask people for help? If you remember, when at the beginning of the presentation, there was this question about named those 5 people that somehow were vital in when you were planning to come to Canada. Also think about that. Like, it's not that you have to do it yourself and it's only you. No, it's about what tools, what resources, what's the people that's there that can help me. Because at the end of the day, we are a community, right? So that's important.
Let me see if we have some questions here. Well, a lot of thank you notes. Let me see. Thank you. Very interesting, very valuable, your information, as always. Okay, well, the presentation will be is already recorded and you can find them. We will share the link with you. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Okay. Thank you for making us think and writing down our goals, fears, etc. As you say,
My
it's very
pleasure.
important to visualize all of this, right?
Absolutely. And to write it down. Why it is important? Because if we just have it in the mind, we're gonna get lost there. If try to identify how it's for you if you did not have SMART goal before, compared to having something more structured and clearer and more clear, sorry. Because that will help you a lot. Again, is the more we know where we're going, somehow the easier. I wouldn't say the easier, the more chances we have to succeed.
Thank you. See you next Tuesday. Have a great night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming.